Plants, Plant Physiology, Unit 6. Hello and welcome to Biotechnica's What to and How to series. And today we are in episode 6 and you heard me right. Plants, botany. सुनते ही बहुत सारे लोगों को डर लग जाता है. It scares a lot of people, especially who are from the animal background or on the other side of the fence. They get scared. But क्या आपको पता है कि competition is all about having one extra added advantage, extra edge on others. That's competition. So you have to come out of your comfort zone. That's when you can nail this competition with ease, with high rank. So to help you simplify Unit 6, to help you get better at Unit 6, that's plant physiology, today I have the best, the finest expert Biotechnica has got. Yes, you heard me right. We have today Dr. Nupur Maam. Welcome to the show, ma'am. How are you?
Much for having me. Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Nupur Nagvekar and today I'll be talking to you about Unit 6, which is plant physiology. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us. So, a quick intro about Nupur ma'am, guys. So, Nupur ma'am has been associated with us, I think, since 2011 now. She joined us when she had just qualified her CSIR NET, and then she went on, did her PhD also, and side by side, she kept teaching students in Biotechnica. And today, she's back again now as a full-time faculty, and she's been training so many students out there. And trust me, the students who study Unit 6 from her go back and say that, even PhD students come back to us and say that we remember everything, whatever Nupur ma'am taught us. In fact, many students, started pursuing their PhD. They changed their PhD topic to plants because they were so much excited about this unit. Thanks to Nupur ma'am. So Nupur ma'am is an expert of plant physiology and many other things at Biotechnica, including a lot of things she teaches me also whenever I am stuck. So today we have her here. And ma'am, so I'll quickly get started with the to-the-point question, and that is, how important is this unit for CSIR NET? Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah, so from the importance point of view, yes, Unit 6 is important. If I have to explain about the allotment of marks, there are roughly average about 5 Part B and 5 Part C questions on an average. Some years it's less, some years it's more, but on an average, 5 Part B, 5 Part C. So that means about 30 marks on an average is allotted, but maximum there have been 36 marks also. There have been papers where 36 marks questions have been asked from Unit 6. So yes, it is an important unit. It is a highly scoring unit. And what I recommend is, if it is a stronghold subject, if your specialization is from these backgrounds, then definitely you're not supposed to skip it. If you have not studied botany ever in your life, or this is something very new for you, then if you have time, then yes, Biotechnica is always there to guide you in the right direction, and we can make this unit very easy for you. Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. So, ma'am, that's the point I wanted to make, which you said in the last line, that if you find science boring, probably you have not met the right teacher. And trust me, I have attended almost many of your classes, actually, ma'am. And I have seen that the way you make it so easy and lucid for students, like, hats off. I seriously, commend Nupur ma'am. I recommend Nupur ma'am, if you want to make Unit 6 your strong point, you should go and study from her. Okay, so now coming to the next question, ma'am, and that is, okay, we know the importance now. So what topic we should study? If you could throw some light on that.
So this Unit 6 plant physiology has many different topics. The first 2-3 ones are very important from the exam's perspective. Like photosynthesis is something which you should never skip. Every
Okay.
year there will be question from photosynthesis, and not just from the exams perspective. If you're planning to use this field as your research field or research subject,
Of course.
photosynthesis something is very important. And photosynthesis, respiration, nitrogen metabolism, some of these plant hormones, some of these topics are really important from the exam perspective. Then there are some units or some topics from this unit which don't turn up with the same frequency, like the questions don't turn up with the same frequency every year. But
Mm-hmm.
what my recommendation is for students, and this is a technique that I personally had used for clearing
Okay.
CSIR net, was
Mm-hmm.
to, if when you choose a particular unit, you make sure that you study the heck out of it. That means you don't skip any subtopics within that unit. So if a particular student has chosen unit 6, you make
Mm-hmm.
sure that whatever subsections are there, all the topics, secondary metabolites, stress physiology, everything, you cover
Mm-hmm.
each and every subsection within that unit. And in
Right.
case there is some student who does
Mm-hmm.
not, for whatever reason, does not want to select unit 6, then they may
Mm-hmm.
not select unit 6, but whatever unit they are selecting, they have to make sure that they do not skip any subtopics in it, because that
Okay.
is the way you score. We cannot predict what questions can come. We can't read the minds of the paper setters, right?
Of course.
so
Of course.
so every year they may give a question from this topic, or next year they may change it. So it's
Mm-hmm.
completely up to them. So the only way we can minimize that risk is to make sure
Mm-hmm.
that we are covering all the topics in that particular unit. And this is what I recommend for all the units, whether you
All right.
select the unit or not, but make sure you're
Mm-hmm.
doing all subtopics of that unit.
All right. So that's the key pointer here for all of you guys watching this episode. If you decide to study, please study the subunits and the subtopics. Don't skip. Okay. So that's the important pointer there from Ma'am. All right. So now, Ma'am, for a average student who has just a basics of botany, right? How tough really this particular unit is on a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 being toughest and 1 being easy. What do you think, how tough it will be for an average student?
For an average student, it would be around 6 to 7. So they
Mm-hmm.
just have to put in that little extra effort, because if they're 6 to 7, that means they have some basic background of botany that they would have studied in their bachelor's or master's, and they have to just put in that little extra effort to
Right.
learn a bit more in detail. And with the right kind of guidance, they can easily do it. Now, the
Mm-hmm.
major tricky points in unit 6 are basically the metabolic pathways. There are a lot of metabolic pathways in unit 6, and
Mm-hmm.
also cell signaling pathways. Now, these are the ones which are confusing even to seasoned students, like those who have studied the topic. Even they have problems with cell signaling or metabolic pathways. So to cover these, or to tackle these issues, well, there are other tricks that we can use, like mind maps, or memory diagrams, memory
Right.
placards. these
Chats.
are these are things that, of course, Biotechnica also teaches our students to cover this
Mm-hmm.
and learn this. So using
Right.
these techniques, you can conquer unit 6. So it's nothing to be scared of. You have to take that
Mm-hmm.
first out of your mind, and then
Mm-hmm.
yes, you are capable of conquering this unit.
Okay, so now that we know about the difficulty level and the priority, and we know how to what to study, ma'am, if you could throw some light on how to study, is there any special procedure or special approach we should follow to study this unit?
Yes. So again, so I'll just divide my answer into two parts. First is for the people who have these specializations. They have learned the basic concept. So for them, the next step, the next logical step would be to go for the reference books, because that is
Absolutely.
where they will understand the different perspective to all these concepts. Now, for
Right.
those students who who have not studied, or are just starting out for
Starting.
botany and yeah, plant related topics, the very first thing is not to jump to reference books, because that's going to confuse them a lot. They'll take in a lot of
Mm-hmm.
information at the same time, and without the right guidance, they are just going to lose interest in it, or they are going to get more scared of that particular unit. So the best
Right.
way is to start with abridged books, like the study material that Biotechnica provides, or for
Mm-hmm.
Biotechnica students, we provide PPTs and videos, right? These are highly abridged. They have all the condensed information in such a manner that students can retain that basic information. Once this
Mm-hmm.
part is covered, that is when they can go for the reference books, study the reference books. So if they are
Mm-hmm.
interested in unit 6, first the abridged study material, PPTs, videos, etc. And once they think that they have cemented they have the cemented basic ideas of this unit, then move on towards the reference books. And like I
Mm-hmm.
said, mind maps, memory placards, helping to understand or retain basically the concepts that you have studied.
Yeah, that's very important actually, because facts and facets we tend to forget. Our mind is not,
Right.
used to remembering facts, and that's where retaining is
Yes.
very important. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I've had students, which they say that, yes, we have understood everything in your class. But after 2, 3 weeks, they forget the concepts
Oh,
because they
well,
have not revised. So that's how
correct.
important revision is. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what spaced repetition or any such technique can be used for revising. All right. So, ma'am, now that we have, I think, 50% clarity on how to do things here, my next question to you would be, okay, are there any important topics or a priority list of topics like which we could, give it to our students today, and that will help them, study? So, according to you, there's any priority topics like one you said is photosynthesis. Apart from
Yes.
that.
Yeah, so again, just one point I would like to reiterate, that in case you're taking this unit, the better approach would be covering all the topics within that unit. But if I do have to list out it in the order of importance, first one would be photosynthesis, second
Okay.
comes respiration and photorespiration, then
Mm-hmm.
comes plant hormones, because that's a very huge topic and the chances of question coming from that are more, and
Mm-hmm.
secondary metabolites, and the last one is
Mm-hmm.
stress physiology. These
Okay.
are the ones,
Mm-hmm.
in case, that is, in case if someone wants to pick out cherry pick out topics from that, then these are the ones that
Right.
they can follow. Yeah.
Okay. That obviously means, is there any possibility that some part of this unit can be skipped entirely, if in case? If you could tell
In
us that.
case they do want to, then there is solute transport and photoassimilate translocation. And the reason,
Okay.
I'll also give you the reason why, because there are
Yeah.
some years where one particular question will come, and then there are some years
Mm-hmm.
where a question is not asked from it at all. So, in
Okay.
case you want to, you can do this particular
Mhm.
subsection. Yeah,
Okay.
solute
All
transport
right.
and photoassimilate translocation.
Okay. So there you have it, guys. You have a priority list. If you want to do cherry picking, you can always do that. If you want to skip some point or some subunits, yes, ma'am has told you that as well. Now, ma'am, coming to the next part, which is, okay, there are multiple different exams like GATE, DVT, ICMR, ARSNet, various exams. So, which exams this particular unit, if we prepare, will help there as well, like a cross domain function?
Okay, so I'll first tell about GATE. Now, in GATE, there is GATE BT. In gate
Hmm.
BT, there is overlap, but it is less. So
Hmm.
it's only pertaining
Yes.
to agricultural biotechnology or plant biotechnology. Only that part is
Right.
overlap. But in
Right.
gate Excel,
Mm-hmm.
there is one paper which is botany paper. So that entire
Okay.
paper is botany, and there is a huge
Correct.
overlap there. So if you study for CSR, that's going to help you for gate also, especially gate Excel
Right.
paper botany. Now in
Mm-hmm.
gate, there is also food technology. Now, this is not
Right.
a direct overlap, but if you want to play with the food, if you want to do food engineering, you need to first understand what is the nature of the food, and that is where the overlap with the plant section comes. So, even food tech people need to understand the basics of plant physiology and plant morphology, metabolism, etc., to play with the food later on. Now, in
Right.
DBT is one such exam where there is, you can see, 100% overlap. In
Okay.
DBT, there is a specialized branch that is agricultural biotechnology, and
Hmm.
in that it is 100% overlap. So you see, it's
Wow.
verbatim, the topics are there in unit 6 and in dvd jrn.
Correct. Wow.
And one
Mhm.
last thing is ICMR. In ICMR, yes, there is a section for botany and there is a section for biotechnology. So there is
Correct.
some overlap for ICMR also.
Slightly overlap is there. Okay, so now that means if we study this unit, definitely we are, covering syllabus of other entrance exams
Yes,
also. And truly
yes,
said, CSIR NET is the mother of all entrance exams. That's what we
yes,
say.
yes.
Okay, ma'am. So now, in one line, I want to ask you, why should students should not skip this unit? What's your take on that? One line.
For me personally, it's a broad perspective where
Hmm.
the human population is going to grow a lot in the coming years. We are
Correct.
going to grow in numbers and there is going to be food shortage. So we need a
Correct.
lot of people to work in these areas so that
Great
we can
technology.
succeed. Yes, the technology should
Yes.
advance. Yes.
Correct. Wonderful. And that's the reason if you want to pursue your research in this huge scope, so it makes sense getting into plant physiology.
Plant
Okay.
physiology.
Wonderful lines there. So, ma'am, now the reference book, if you could tell us like a few references, you said, of course, abridged versions we should study first, like Biotechnica also has. So, apart from that, if we have to look at the standard books, which are the standard books we should study from?
The Holy Grail would be Tays and Ziegler. That's the name of the book is Plant Physiology by Tays
Okay.
and Ziegler. So
Ziegler.
this book, yes, this book covers majority of the chunk of the Unit 6 portion. So if you have this book, you're referring to this book, that is actually good enough.
Mm-hmm.
Some other books would be Plant Physiology by Salisbury, Ross and Salisbury. And for those
Mm-hmm.
who are
That's a book
just
I've heard of.
starting,
Mm-hmm.
that's
Mm-hmm.
for those who are just starting out, like very basics, don't know anything about it. Then
Mm.
there are instant notes like by Lank and
Of
Evans, like
course.
the very
Yes,
very
yes.
basic books.
Yes,
Yeah,
we have that. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. So now that we know the books which we have to, refer to, now I'm not sure if this question is valid, but uh, when we study for this unit, does it help us? Because generally we have seen in Part C question, there'll be overlap of different units. So when we study for this unit, will it have any overlap with any other unit?
Actually, yes. I mean, it's surprising for many people, but yes. So,
Hmm.
in unit 1, there is a respiration topic. I mean, plants
Yeah.
also, respiration is there. It's not the
Hmm.
same. There is slight difference, but if you
Friends.
study it, yeah, then you're covering one entire topic. Then in unit 5, there's morphogenesis and organogenesis in plants. So there some
Hmm.
overlap is there, and the major overlap would be in unit 12, where there is plant biotechnology, transgenic plants or genomic
Ah,
applications to agriculture. So to
agriculture.
understand that, or to have many applications in that field, you first need to have your basics clear, your botany basics clear. So unit 6. Yes.
Right, right. That's a very interesting point there. Even I was not sure if that question is valid at all for Unit 6, but you made some very strong pointers there. Okay, ma'am. So now we know that. Now, my question to you is, okay, we know what to study, we know how to study, but okay, when I'm making notes, because obviously students make notes, so what should be our approach towards making notes for this unit? What's your take on that?
Um, well, one good thing about this unit is it does not have many numericals. So there are
Hmm,
hardly any
obviously.
numericals. There are hardly any numerical
Mhm.
questions also in the paper. The type of
Correct.
questions that come are mostly text-based questions. So like they'll give four or
Hmm.
five statements and they will ask
Hmm.
choose the correct ones or the incorrect ones. This is the
Right.
most common type of question that you will get in part C. Now, to make
Hmm.
notes, any for
Hmm.
any unit, not just for unit 6, What you
Right.
need to do is make it in the pointer form. For metabolic pathways and cell signaling pathways, it has to be mind maps or memory placards, etc. But for notes, you can have it in your abridged form. You write it yourself because that helps you retain that information in pointer form. And quick revision every week, there has to be revision of that matter. So this will help in unit 6.
Okay. Okay. So I think things are pretty much crystal clear now. Uh, a few questions I'm left with, and the next one to you is: when you were a student and you were preparing for CSIR NET, and you were preparing for Unit 6, what were the challenges you faced personally when you started reading this unit?
Like I said, for me also, and this is from experience, from me
Yeah.
also, the major challenge were the pathways and the signaling pathways, because
Right.
these pathways have a lot many compounds. You have to remember the order. There are some instances where you have to remember the structure. So this
Mm-hmm.
information is an overload. Now, luckily for me, at that time, I was also teaching. So the
Mm-hmm.
way I was revising is continuous teaching,
Teaching.
and that was helping me in revision. So
Wonderful.
this is one way that you can do that. You can also start teaching your peers or your juniors also, where
Valid
that
point.
becomes a revision for you. And once you keep revising, then it automatically comes to you. Then it's no
Becomes much
longer.
clearer.
Yes, it's much clearer. When
Yeah.
students ask you doubts, even your basics are
Concepts.
cemented. Yes, your concepts are
Yes.
clear.
Yes. Wonderful, wonderful. That's a very strong point, actually. And for students watching this, you have to know this. You go on YouTube and start teaching. No, that's not what Ma'am meant. Ma'am meant you sit with one person, maybe your friend, teach him. And then he'll have questions, counter questions. And then when you get into a debate, that's how you cement your concepts. And that's a very valid point by Ma'am, that you have to teach. Teaching is the best way of retaining, best way of revising. So wonderful points there, Ma'am. So coming to the last question of this episode, and that's: so we have students preparing for CSIR NET for months together. They're going to write the exam in a few weeks from now. So what will be your message to them?
Uh, First and foremost, again, if you're choosing the unit, make sure you're
Mhm.
doing all the subtopics of that unit. The second
Okay.
advice is, you don't take it as a challenge just for the exam. You
Right.
think of it in the long term, that is where your research field is going to be determined.
Okay.
So the
Right.
long term view, the broader perspective is what is going to keep you in line. That is what is going to be your motivation. In fact, the field of your research is also going to be determined based on how you take up these units, how you study these
Mhm.
individual units, how deep you
Mhm.
read into the newer technologies, newer startups that are coming in these fields. So that is what will tell you what work is going on, in which direction that industry is moving, and that is what can help you identify your field of interest. So rather than having a bird's eye view of the exam, take a broader perspective of how it is going to take you 5 years down the line. That is what is my advice to all the students.
Wonderful lines there, ma'am. Thank you so much for your insights for Unit 6 and overall broader horizon which you presented in front of us. So I think the audience and I personally am so thankful to you for your time. Now, for all those who missed out the beginning of this episode, there is something you should know about Dr. Nupur ma'am. She is an international agri biotechnologist, and she has tons of papers published in this domain. She has extensive experience and knowledge of this domain, and that's what the students at Biotechnica enjoy the most, because when she teaches, her passion reflects in how she talks, how she teaches, how she imparts knowledge. A great teacher inspires, and she is one of them. Thank you so much, Nupur ma'am, for joining us today. It was really wonderful uh, interacting with you. And now, for all my student subscribers and fans of Biotechnica, we covered Unit 6. Very soon, we are going for Unit 7. I'm sure you are preparing well, and I'm sure you're keeping your enthusiasm high. But remember, exam is all about mindset, never self-doubt. Study strategically, logically in a focused unidirectional approach. Day in, day out. Don't give up. You're going to win. I guarantee it, you'll win. Thank you so much for watching this episode. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.